Friday evening ends with unfinished messages, and the mind rehearses tomorrow's demands instead of resting. Even with a promotion, a partner, or a new goal, inner needs left unnamed can still feel hollow. Much of life is driven by fast judgments made below our awareness, long before deliberate reasoning. These hidden processes read faces, interpret tone, and tag situations with comfort, threat, or possibility. When these signals are well trained, people build relationships that nourish them and careers that fit. When signals are distorted by fear or neglect, choices become reactive, and character grows brittle over time. At home, two adults can argue about small routines, missing that both are defending unseen assumptions. At work, a team can misread silence as agreement, until resentment surfaces and cooperation collapses. We will break down hidden skill building, emotional guidance, secure attachment, shared relationship maps, and moral instincts. This video is inspired by The Social Animal by David Brooks, and please subscribe for more guides on love and character. Non-cognitive skills, though hidden and hard to quantify, are crucial for fulfillment and competence. These skills arise from an inner mind that processes experience, forms habits, and guides behavior without constant oversight. Awareness captures only a small portion of incoming information, so most evaluation occurs quietly in the background. This background work shapes what feels important, which goals seem realistic, and which people seem trustworthy. In a conversation, one person focuses solely on words, while another senses tension and adjusts to prevent conflict. The second person is not necessarily smarter on paper, but is better at reading the social landscape in real time. This is why life outcomes depend on character traits, intuitions, and social norms as much as planning. Success increasingly hinges on the unseen processes that build judgment and resilience, rather than visible credentials. Pay attention to situations that reliably change mood, focus, or confidence, as these patterns reveal the mind's filters. Practice naming the impulse before acting, then choose a response that aligns with long-term values. Reason can list options, but emotion assigns value, making one path feel better than another. A useful concept is the somatic marker, a bodily signal that flags danger or promise. Without these markers, people can become stuck in endless comparisons, unable to stop weighing trivial details. With them, the mind quickly highlights a few options and discards others before fatigue overwhelms attention. One case describes a man calmly listing pros and cons for 30 minutes over 2 meeting dates. He understood logic, but he could not feel preference, so a simple choice became painfully slow. In everyday life, emotions act like an internal positioning system, comparing the present to stored experiences. That system coats people and situations with attraction or warning, shaping small choices that eventually reshape a life. Pay attention to body signals during decisions, then ask which past memories might be driving the reaction. Over time, practice delaying a snap reaction by a few seconds so wiser judgments can refine it. Attachment is the bond that makes a caregiver a secure base for returning and a launch point for exploring. Early care creates internal working models, shaping unconscious expectations about others' responses and the world's safety. When caregivers are attuned and reliable, children learn that their signals are heard and that stress becomes manageable. When care is withdrawn or inconsistent, children may withdraw, cling, or react aggressively, as threats seem omnipresent. A classic lab test observes how a toddler responds when a parent leaves, returns, and leaves again. Secure toddlers protest, then seek contact, while avoidant toddlers appear calm on the outside, even as their heart rates rise. These early patterns influence later friendships, classroom behaviour, and the ease of trusting mentors and partners. Security supports exploration, as the mind expects help during trouble and can focus on learning rather than vigilance. In adult relationships, aim for predictable responses, clear repair after conflict, and attention to each other's signals. If building that secure base matters to you, please subscribe for more lessons on attachment, empathy, and resilient character. In close partnerships, each person brings an unconscious map of how daily life should run. When lives join, these maps collide, and the couple must build a shared pattern through negotiation. Conflicts often start with tiny routines, as habits carry assumptions about respect, order, and responsibility. If partners treat their map as obvious truth, they can interpret differences as laziness or control. One partner rinses dishes immediately, while the other leaves them until evening, and both feel oddly provoked. Even toilet paper direction, or how the morning paper is read, can signal whose comfort matters more. These reactions are not only about chores, they reflect hidden models learned long before the relationship began. Once the couple sees the map beneath the argument, patience becomes easier, and practical compromise becomes possible. Name the specific assumption behind a conflict, then propose a new shared rule that both can understand. Repeat the rule until it becomes automatic, as shared habits reduce future friction and free attention for closeness. Human minds are permeable, meaning we simulate others and experience their feelings from the inside. Mirror neurons describe networks that recreate observed actions, blending perception and evaluation into one process. This deep imitation supports empathy, as another person's pain can trigger a related response in the observer. Empathy then becomes part of morality, as concern for harm and fairness grows from shared feelings. Even without words, people often mirror posture and rhythm, and this mutual imitation increases liking on both sides. However, the same quick instincts can divide groups, as loyalty and disgust can activate faster than reflection. Moral foundations are built around concerns that light up in classic situations, such as care, fairness, and authority. These modules can conflict, so a person can feel compassion and also feel loyalty pressure at the same time. During moral disagreements, ask which foundation is being threatened, then listen for what the other person is protecting. Practice expanding the circle of concern, as repeating this habit makes empathy easier to access under stress. A fulfilling life depends less on perfect self-control and more on shaping the hidden systems that guide behavior. These systems include unconscious skills, emotional signals, relationship models, and moral instincts, all formed through social experience. We discussed how awareness is limited, so judgment must be trained where most processing happens, below the surface. We also saw that emotions assign value quickly, turning complex options into choices that can actually be made. Attachment and map melding show why security and shared routines matter for love, trust, and everyday cooperation. Deep imitation and moral foundations explain why empathy can grow, yet group loyalties can pull people apart. The benefits compound when emotions send clearer signals, because better signals produce better habits and better relationships. Small improvements in attunement and self-awareness reduce unnecessary conflict and make achievement less dependent on constant willpower. Start with one practice this week. Notice the body's signal, name the assumption, and choose a kinder response. If these tools help you read people and guide choices more calmly, please subscribe for more episodes that build character.